Ceann Comhairle, Cearlach. Ar an lá seo, céad bliain ó shin, Jibhnú ráiteas deirfá, Dungmháilta misniúil faoi todhchaí na hÉireann. Tháinig grúpa beag daoine a bhí tufa do Parliament Westminster le céile an seo I dteach an ardmhéara I Mlách Lia chun an céad Dáil Éireachtáil. Ar shlí ráiteas symbólach a bhí I gceist, bhí an Dáil in Oireachtas gach éon cuacht. Ach ó thaobh an symbólachaste, bhí sé annacuachtach ar fad. Fógraíodh leis an ócáid an nádúr déan leathach a rith mar bhunra trí rabhlóid na hÉireann an luach a churú ar institiúidí parlamentach agus an míon a bhí ann chun stáitséir neamhspleách déan leathach a buint amach. Ba cruinniú dhá teangach é, an céad cruinniú starúil sin, seolú an cuid is mó dá Gaeilge, agus lé cuid den na doiciméid as Francais agus an sin as Béarla. Inniuh, cuimhne míid ar ís de phoblacht thar neamhspleách a bhí leagtha amach sa dearbhú neamhspleáchas sin a bhrunfaí tearta comhbhunanna agus deisina comhbhunanna ar gach saránach. Is sí an ís céanna a thráranmuid inniu. Ceann Comhairle, when a small group of people recently elected to the Westminster Parliament met here in the Mansion House 100 years ago, they changed the course of Irish history. The meeting of the first Dáil was bold, profound and decisive as a statement about the future of Ireland. In some ways, it was more of a symbolic statement. The first Dáil was a legislature without any power. But as symbolism went, it was incredibly powerful. It proclaimed the essential democratic nature of the Irish Revolution, the value that it placed on parliamentary institutions, and its aspirations for a free, independent and democratic state. I believe it's significant that the Declaration of Independence was read out in Irish, French and English. The vision of a free, independent republic was multilingual in its approach and multilateral in its outlook. It was one which sought, and I quote, to re-establish justice, to provide for future defence, to ensure peace at home and goodwill with all nations, and to constitute a national polity based on the people's will, with equal right and equal opportunity for every citizen. These are the same principles which guide us today. Much asserted in the message to the free nations of the world could be restated by us here today. We share the vision of a confident trading nation which must be open to all nations. Through our membership of the European Union, through our role with the United Nations in peacekeeping and international development, we have turned the dream of Ireland taking her place among the nations of the world into a reality. I'm also happy to acknowledge the influence of the Labour movement on the democratic programme, and we see it in the assertion that private property must be subordinated to the public right and welfare. And today this is reflected in Bunreacht na hÉireann in Article 43, where private property rights are enshrined but are subject to the common good. For many at the time, the ideas of the democratic programme seemed radical. Indeed, a minister in the first Free State government dismissed it as mostly poetry. But what is striking to me is how successive governments were eventually able to translate the poetry of the democratic programme into legislative and policy prose. And that work continues. Over time, the new Irish state would establish policies, as the programme directed, for the care of the nation's aged and infirm, who shall not be regarded as a burden, but rather entitled to the nation's gratitude and consideration. Health services were established to safeguard the health of people and ensure the physical well-being of the country. Services that serve us well, notwithstanding the many problems. The poor laws were abolished and a state pension system and a social insurance system brought in to replace them. Also through the development of state-owned enterprises, such as the ESB in Bord na Móna, the nation's resources, its mineral deposits, peat bogs and fisheries, its waterways and harbours, were developed in the interest and for the benefit of the Irish people and remain in their ownership. And although it took many decades, a new direction in Irish economic policy, industries were eventually invigorated and trade with foreign nations revived on terms of mutual advantage and goodwill, as the programme foresaw. The democratic programme also points to where the state has fallen short. Its assertion that the first duty of government of the Republic will be to ensure that no child shall suffer hunger or cold from lack of food, clothing or shelter, but that all shall be provided with the means and facilities requisite for their proper education and training, reminds us of our ongoing responsibilities to children today. Industrial schools, illegal adoptions and mother and baby homes were a betrayal of those ideals. And although the rate of child poverty in Ireland is only a fraction of what it was 100 years ago and is falling, we must still do better. In the first years of the Irish Free State, it's interesting to reflect that there were almost 500,000 pupils in national schools and primary schools across the country, but only 1 in 20 would continue beyond that. Second-level education was for the few, and third-level for the very few. It's no wonder that a member of the first Free State Senate, William Butler Yeats, called Ireland in 1928 the worst educated country in Northern Europe. Now we are one of the best educated. Different governments over many years made that possible, for example, bringing in free second-level education. And the result is that this ideal of the democratic programme has become a reality for the many. In 2019, more people attend higher education than ever before, with more coming from non-traditional backgrounds than ever was the case in the past. We also remember that Constance Markievicz was made Minister for Labour, not on this day 100 years ago, but by the first Dáil, nonetheless, in April 1919. And it is deeply shameful that it took another 60 years before another woman became a government minister. And as a state, we've been diminished by the absence of women from positions of power. Today, we also remember that the 21st of January 1919 was also the date of the ambush at Solohead Beg in County Tipperary, an event that subsequently became seen as the first shots in the War of Independence. In the months and years ahead, we will commemorate the struggle that helped us achieve the independence declared so eloquently on behalf of the Irish people in the Mansion House on this day. Ceann Comhairle, tugan an ócáid aniu, an deis chun mac na bhí dhéanamh ar an saol a bhí ann fadó. Agus ag an am céine, smaoinemh ar an saol atá amach rowing sa todhchaí. Became Vishnúil chróigeí, crinú na chéad dála. A dhearbhigh go raibh tacaíocht muintir na hÉireann. Taobh hir den covalint chun neamhsplachas na hÉireann a bhuacháin. Agus gur buin siad dlisteanacht astú. Agus muid ag tuairt ómós don chéad dáil. A dhearbh míad argradamh ina thionachras déanlathach a chomh thional leis an saol, agus aithim níomid de hidéal agus dá fís. Ceann Comhairle, today is an opportunity for all of us to recall the past and also to look to the future. The meeting of the first Dáil was a bold exercise in democracy, an assertion that the struggle for Irish independence had the support of the Irish people and derived its legitimacy from it. By honouring the first Dáil here today, we reaffirm our belief in democratic integrity, in concourse with the world, and rededicate ourselves to the pursuit of its values and its aspirations. Gur míle agad.